And we are live. Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land.
Hello, Internet.
This is Weird's first time on the internet.
Yes, I haven't seen it before. There's a lot of pornography.
All right, so here we go. Oh, we have an angry baby.
Angry baby.
Yep.
I am full of rage.
Hello, and welcome to Handgun Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Machad from the wild woods of central Maine, and this is your home for all the news, information, and discussion in the handgunning world. This week, we discuss safes and security. So, as always, Handgun Radio is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. And please, we'll try that again.
We're so professional.
Why don't you read the rest of this, Weird?
What am I reading?
Please check out the Patriot Patch Company.
Oh, I don't want to. Hold on, I'm right there. I wasn't on this thing. Let's see. Please check out the Patriot Patch Company for their awesome patches and other high quality items. Visit patriotpatch.co for more information. Is that CO or com? Is it CO?
It is CO.
Man, that's kind of cool. I did not realize that was a is that for Colorado?
I'm not sure.
Is it a Colorado website?
No.
You can also shop at Amazon using our affiliate link, which is www.firearmsradio.tv/Amazon.
And Weird, if you wanted to help support Handgun Radio, how would you do it?
I would get a jet ski and go down to Houston and pull out every Handgun Radio listener that's stuck in their house in Houston. Though probably by the time the show posts, probably Houston will be fairly dry. Or you could go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge and click on HGR.
And there are a bunch of different pledge levels over there. We really appreciate the people who have pledged so far. And so we'll head into the week in review. Weird, what did you do this week?
So I told everyone I was going to make a range trip, and my daughter got sick. It's been like over a year since she's gotten anything, worse than the sniffles. And she was throwing up everywhere and had a fever and was just mad at the world and had to stay home from school. And that complicated my week quite a bit. But she's feeling better now.
So I'm assuming you didn't go. You didn't get your range trip in.
I did not get my range.
Didn't know backyard range trip with the bug assault.
I bought a new one. I looked around. I've got a screwdriver set that may or may not fit to take that gun, the one that's broken apart. It'll turn up and I'll have a look at it. Worst case scenario, I got a parts gun now. But I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna buy a bug assault, and it came today, and I was immediately just murdering wasps coming out of the nest that's in my house.
I need that at my new house. We have a problem. There are a bunch of wasp nests everywhere.
Yeah. Well, honestly speaking, the bug assault's probably not if the nests are exposed. The problem is I've got a nest that's up under the eaves of my house, so I can't spray it. But otherwise, you want to hose it down with wasp spray. Or what you can do is if it's like just hanging like underneath like an eave or something, go in after dark when they're all asleep, and then pull it down and spray it with WD-40 and set it on fire. And then
so the key is to go like at night when they're asleep.
Go at night. Yeah, exactly. They calm down and go to sleep at nighttime. I would still make sure to like bundle up and wear gloves just in case, because they might sting the crap out of you. I may have a few stings on my body right now. But yeah, and just pull it down. And I'm really a huge fan of burning it, because that will as the wasps wake up, it sets their wings on fire and their wings burn up real quick, and they can do all they want. If they can't fly, they're not really going to do much harm to you. And it'll kill all the larvae that are inside the hive, which is the big deal, because if you don't kill all the larvae, they'll all just come back.
Seems like you've thought this through.
I've had a few experiences getting stung by wasps as a child, and I'm a biologist, and so I have just an undying hatred of them. And so I've used my knowledge of science for murdering wasps.
So what's your drink segment this week?
I thought I'd do something for the people that have a little bit more simple tastes and aren't into fancy cocktails as much as I am. I was in New Hampshire the other week, and we were coming back from vacation, and we stopped at Evidently right on the New Hampshire Vermont border, there's like they've got like a little like mini mall that is the New Hampshire State Liquor Store. It's pretty awesome. It's like, I mean, come on, New Hampshire, could you be any more awesome? So yeah, so we stopped there to use the bathrooms and we had our lunch. And I just said, oh, well, while we're here, I'm going to go take a quick hop into the liquor store, and picked up a few things that I was running low on. And one of the things though is I was one of those like, I need a good sipping whiskey, because sometimes I don't feel like mixing a fancy cocktail. Sometimes I just want something that's good on its own. And I was looking for they didn't have, for whatever reason, they didn't have any uh Basil Hayden. I don't know why. They had Booker's, but it was a lot more expensive than I was willing to pay. And yeah, I was looking at the Whistle Pig rye, which is really nice. But I settled on, I went over to the Scotch section and I saw this, I believe it's pronounced Lafroig, and they got their 10-year-old single malt. It was described as being very peaty and very smoky. And I said, you know what? That sounds like fun. And it's a very interesting Scotch. Let's just say that it's a challenging Scotch. It's not bad. It's quite good, but it's smoky, peaty. It's got a lot of dark and dirty flavors, a little bit of the iodine typus. It's got some bitterness to it, and it's very, very interesting. So I mean, it's guarantee it's not for everyone. I don't even know if it's for me, but let me tell you, I'll finish the bottle.
I need to drive down and see you again so I can have some of that.
Come on over whenever you want, Bob.
All right. So with that, we'll head into the main topic, safe space. So this whole concept, or this whole topic, came about from me talking to Weird today about needing to buy a new safe.
Were you triggered, and so you needed a safe space?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, it's all double entendres because we're a gun podcast. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm a genius.
So, you may remember last or early this past year, was it? Yeah, early this past year, February, my mom's house burned down, and there were some guns in the house. The guns that were not in the safe got destroyed, I think, and I think there was only one of them. The guns, there wasn't really a safe as so much as there was one of those, and we've all seen them, those glass fronted like wooden cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a bunch of guns in there, and all of those guns were fine. They had more water damage on them from like the water being on the exposed metal parts, so just like a light surface rust. But all of those they checked out by a gunsmith, deemed them fine. They had no like marks of even like any heat getting to them, and which is weird because the room that the fire started in was right next to where the guns were. So, and they live out in the country, so like it took a little while for the fire department to get there.
How long? Approximately.
If I had to guess, probably 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes.
4 or 5 minutes isn't too bad.
I mean, it
all
depends on the
I can
traffic.
walk to my fire department. My daughter and I could walk to our fire department, and we have walked to our fire department. And I don't know if I would be unimpressed if they got here in 4 minutes.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if they have the actual. I'm kind of interested myself now. Maybe it was probably closer to 6.
Yep.
I mean, it's a ways out there from where the fire department is.
It's still not bad. I mean, it's one of those 4 or 5 minutes is a pretty good response time.
A lot of country road. But so you might, it all depends on the type of fire, how it goes and everything. But you have to consider that when you're looking at, am I going to have a cabinet or am I going to have a safe? Now, you can get different ratings, I think. The safe I was looking at, it's rated for like 5 hours or something. I'd have to look. I don't even have the manual in front of me. I got to pick the thing up tomorrow, but you have all these different ratings, and that so much at so many hours or something like that. Now, did you consider fire safety weird when you were first getting a bunch of safes, or like were you just interested in cabinets?
I mean, fire safety is always something to consider. I remember now. I'm trying to remember back on this on what I found. Like the fire safety rating is one of those things that's a little bit weird. On the, it doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to be completely unscathed and there's going to be no damage, within that time allotment. It just means like, I think it means like something like paper might be scorched but still readable and still usable after that time frame. I forget what the rating is, but overall I kind of realized that safes, especially, well, I mean, when I first started collecting guns, I lived in apartments, and you don't want to be getting a huge, heavy safe when you're living in an apartment, especially since like my wife and I moved around like every 2 years for a couple of years. That's no fun. Um, so definitely, we started out with cabinets, and I don't know if I'm super crazy about going moving up to fire safety.
So I had a cabinet a long time ago, and I mean, to get the same size gun safe as the cabinet, you're looking at least $600 to $700,
Mm-hmm.
and you need the space and all that. And I mean, and compared with the guns you're buying, exactly, it's not that much to insure them.
Yep. Also, you got to remember too when you're getting one of these big heavy safes, if you're going to be, I mean, if it's going down into like a basement or something, that's awesome. But if it's going like up onto like if you're putting up in your attic or on your second floor, you've got to make sure that the floor is all set to handle that kind of weight in that location.
Right. I mean, you're looking at some safes that can be 130 pounds, which is fine, but you're looking at stuff that could be even more.
Oh yeah, some of them are really heavy.
So cabinets versus safes. Cabinets might give you a little protection. You'd be surprised, but they might not. Um, Safes may give you some protection, but then again, I'm looking online right now at the gun safe reviews guy. Probably should have got this guy on the show actually, but apparently there are three different classes. It's called a UL 72 in like class 125. The inside of the safe must stay below 125 degrees Fahrenheit and 80% relative humidity, and that will protect all above paper, non-paper records such as computer disks and photos, and flexible computer disks.
Hmm.
For each class, there is an associated time rating: 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, or 4 hour. Note that this time rating is not the length of the actual test. They have fire endurance test, impact test, so like showing if the safe drops from 30 feet to simulate a drop from a third story into a basement in a severe fire. Uh,
Interesting.
so
I
they have a
hadn't thought
bunch of
about
different.
that.
Um,
Because once your house starts burning and the safe's in there, yeah, the stuff might be fine, but the floor is going to give way.
so I guess they have a bunch of different testings. They do like 2 hours at 1640 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes in an oven. But so you never know. I mean, you like Weird said, you could have a cabinet and it could protect your guns, but don't bank on it. And
No.
don't bank on the fire resistant safes doing the same thing.
Oh, but actually, one thing while we're talking about fire resistant safes, one thing you do not want to do with a fire resistant safe is store your ammo in it.
And why would that be?
Because if you do have a fire, you're now just have like a giant bomb.
No, yes.
Because they're all sealed up. You definitely want a cabinet if you want to lock up your ammo. I personally don't really see much need in it. Ammo's I don't get people that are all bent out of shape about ammo. It's not dangerous. Like the worst thing you could have is like, oh, your kid's gonna swallow it. Or you're gonna get a bored teenager that's gonna like try to pop a primer with it not in there. But that's just foolish behavior. Lock up all your kitchen knives. Um, but if you are somebody that wants to lock up your ammo or keep your ammo tucked away, do not tuck it away in a fire rated safe, because if it exceeds whatever the heat point is that you're going to cook off a primer or two, the all of that powder. I mean, obviously, bullets cooking off aren't, ammo cooking off isn't particularly dangerous. I think we've all seen various tests of people cooking off ammo, but all that stuff cooking off is going to release gas pressure, and those safes keep the inside nice and cool by having not a lot of gas exchange between the inside and the outside. That could be very, very catastrophic.
Now, one thing I had heard a long time ago, I was looking at like a safe for the car, and you know those document safes that sit horizontal and they have the little
Yeah, yeah.
clasp. I had thought about those, but I hadn't actually considered. I was like, yeah, I don't know. So I read it online, and then someone was saying that because they're document safes, they have this like foam outer thing, and when that gets hot, it kind of releases moisture into the safe to protect the documents from fire. I don't know if that's true or not,
Mm-hmm.
but they were saying don't store guns in there because it'll just ruin them with like rust and stuff.
Huh.
I don't know if that's true. I heard that. If anybody knows about that, let me know because I'd be interested to find out the answer. But
Yeah.
that was one thing they had said, like you put the gun in there, it's a blued revolver or something, and you have a fire. Yeah, it may be safe from burning up, but like it's covered in moisture and it rusts or whatever.
I get, but if you got, I imagine if you got to it soon enough, you have to re-blue it. I mean, first up, the gun you're going to be locking in your car should not be your collectible model, mint condition Model 10
Right.
or Target Model 29. Don't obviously for something like that, that's your carry gun. And come on, if your carry gun should not be a grail gun. Your carry gun needs to, is a gun that's going to get chipped and dinged and holster wear and all sorts of stuff like that. Carry gun, you should not care how it looks. um so, but the idea being, yeah, but I don't know if like over time, like just being in a hot car, would that release some moisture? I don't know. That's something worth looking into. We'll have to see if somebody knows anything about that in the listenership. Reach out to us, let us know. um but the idea of, yeah, little small document safe, or those, actually would be great, is those little cash boxes, and just run a piece of steel cable through it to, if you got one that's got like two holes in the side, and you could run like a bike lock and run the lock so the lock is inside the safe, and then and run that through like the frame of your seat or a seat somewhere in the car, and then put it in there, you've got a pretty good setting. I mean, again, every safe you can get into. The question is, how easy is it going to be, and how long before the person, before the person gives up?
Right.
I mean, granted, like those cash lockers, like actually, I found at work a little lockbox similar to those little cash lockers on there, and I'm like, oh, what's in this? I don't know. We'll have to, do you have the key? Someone's got the key. You can go around and ask. I'm not going to go around just asking everybody who's got the key to this. So instead, I just pulled out my lock picks and I opened it in about 6 seconds. But how many people are going to be, how many people that are doing smash and grabs at cars are going to have their lock picks and are going to know how to pick a lock? So,
Well, and I think it's important to note here too, before we go any further, pretty much any safe can be broken into.
oh yeah.
Like if you have a skilled enough person, they're going to be able to get into it. Um, it
Oh
all
yeah.
depends on, like it takes a certain amount of time, but
Yep.
still don't have any illusion that just because you have a safe means that no one can ever get into it.
Yeah.
Because
Friend of mine had a Liberty safe, and the the locking system died on it. I don't remember exactly what happened, but he just called them up and they're under warranty, so they sent a guy out, and it took the company guy like a couple hours to get into the safe, and he was like drilling into it and things like that to get it open so he could get the guns out, set those aside, call out the dead safe, bring in the warranty repaired, the replacement safe, and then put everything back together. And so, I mean, that's the idea being, is that's, you just want to slow down. The question is, how long do you need to slow down someone who's trying to steal your stuff?
right.
So that's so I mean, talking about like cabinets, you can do added things like cabinets are, yes, you could, they're not thick steel like the safes are, so you can get into them with a crowbar. But the idea being, if you do stuff, most of them come with like a strap system, so you can drill them into a stud, and just all that stuff just adds time and effort that's going to happen to the to your, if someone's trying to steal your stuff. And again, also, I mean, another reason is not just theft protection, but just the, oh yeah, no, what if your kid is bored or just fumbling around and all there? You don't want them getting in and messing around with when your guns. I mean, obviously you should be teaching them the Eddie Eagle stuff so they can know that, yeah, guns are not something you play around with. You go find an adult and you tell them about it.
Right.
But either way, that's, don't bank on that either. That's just, it's there's too much at risk.
It's a good decision. Did you see the shooting in, I think it was Scarborough, earlier this week, the 5-year-old girl?
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
I guess a father left his handgun loaded in his backpack in the same room as he and his little 5-year-old daughter.
Ugh.
I guess he got up to go do something to the TV, and in that short amount of time, she was able to get into the backpack, get the handgun, and shot herself, killed her.
Oh, that's
And
awful.
that lapse in judgment in securing his firearm made all the difference. And it didn't take 5 minutes. He wasn't out of the room for 5 minutes. The way that he described it, he was literally turned his back and walked 10 feet away from wherever she was, and she was able to get to it.
Man.
So this is really important, and you really got to think about it. And I don't want anybody to say, like, because I know people are going to say, well, you guys talk about how much these safes cost, and if you're able to buy a gun, you should be able to buy a safe. Well, for some people, that's they might not be able to buy a super expensive safe that costs $600. There are options out there, though, that don't cost that much. A simple pistol box with a cable lock and a key, or either a keypad or a thumbprint like I have or whatever, will make all the difference in keeping your firearm secured and away from people that shouldn't have access to it.
Mm-hmm. Also, I gotta, since we're on the subject of a gun kept in a backpack, don't do it. Just don't do that. Like, I mean, if you're gonna go backpacking and you want to throw a gun in your backpack for whatever reason, do that. Don't leave a firearm in a bag or something like that, because not only are you going to have things like someone's going to go looking through the bag for something, but you might have either yourself or somebody else might end up be going, oh, I'm going to go on vacation. Oh, look, this bag is perfect for holding my stuff. And they don't go through every single pocket. No, look, there's an LCP tucked in one of the small pockets that I didn't even look into, and they're small and light. It's not like you noticed the weight of the LCP, and now you're going through security, and hey, guess what? Now you're in a lot of trouble for attempting to bring a gun into an airport, or bring into some other zone that firearms are not allowed. Just don't leave them in bags. I mean, ideally you should be carrying them on your person. Like, off-body carries just adds a lot of risks and a lot of concerns. But if you're going to do off-body carry, as soon as that piece of, that whatever you're carrying the firearm in leaves your person, put it away.
Yeah, I think Grant says, if once you put the gun in a bag, the bag becomes the gun. You have to treat that bag with the same respect you would treat the gun if you were holding it in your hand.
The woman who taught my did my wife's training course to get her carry permit. She is just one of those people that, yep, nope, I went through all the things, and purse carries the way for me. And she's very serious about her purse carry. And she went and go, oh, that's, this was so much fun, this was good, and all of that. And I said, and of course you knew the instructor was carrying a gun the whole time. Was she? I said, I know her. Yes, she was carrying a gun. She's never not carrying a gun. As a matter of fact, she was the first person who said to me, I mentioned the fact that, oh man, when I had a restricted permit, so I couldn't carry, I said, I would love to have the carry permit. I don't know if I'd carry all the time, but I definitely would carry if I'm going to like a bad area. And she said to me, how do you know the area you're going to is a bad area? And I realized that, oh, yeah, like even like the crappiest neighborhoods in Boston aren't necessarily a bad area. You can walk through South Central Chicago and not get shot, or you can walk through, lovely idyllic suburb just happens to be when some nuts going crazy or some gang groups robbing the bank. So, the idea being that, oh, you know when you're going to be safe and when you're not going to be safe is foolish. And so she was one of those ones of that, no, you carry all the time. And but one of those, like, she went, oh man, I realized, yeah, no, she never took the purse off. She'd wear a purse and she wears it like across her shoulder so it goes over her neck. And just the purse is always on her. When she's carrying a gun in the purse is part of her body.
So, speaking of like pistol boxes, I have, I think, a Sentry Safe one. Just it's one of those like bedside type boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's got the fingerprint reader on it, and it also has a keypad, so you can, type out a sequence of keys. It's not numbered; it's just they're just like 5 or 6 in a line.
Yep.
And then it has a backup key open as well. And it's inexpensive. It works well. I mean, and you can get the lower priced version that just has the key open on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are really, really good options. If you can't afford that, even a simple, like you said, like a cash box, like one of those just locking simple sheet steel boxes that you would see at like a little league game at the snack shack. People are putting money in it. Something like that would be that. It would keep
get one that's just got like the bare steel interior, and then you can just lay some cloth or some carpet. I'm happen to be a huge fan of just oiling up the cloth with a little bit of gun oil so that you make sure that there's no moisture that's going to get into the cloth. There's no mold that's going to get into the cloth, but just put something that's lightly oiled on the inside of it, and then you can lay your guns in there, and then you've got your key. Just be careful about what you do with the key, like especially if it's going to be like your nightstand type situation. Don't have it be so that the keys sitting like in the nightstand drawer right beside the safe, because you're starting to diminish the returns on that. Maybe have it so that, yeah, it's sitting on the nightstand safe, or you might even put it in the lock when you go to bed, but it comes out and goes with you when you leave the room.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather you have that than not lock your gun up.
Yep. And of course there's always, simple things like, I mean, it's not going to control access at all to the gun, but it is going to keep someone from firing. It is trigger locks and cable locks.
And yeah, everybody overlooks them because typically they either just throw them away or do whatever with them.
I got a big old stack of them because it seems like I'm always encountering someone that like my sister-in-law was like, oh man, we've got like, a couple of hunting guns in the house, and I want them all locked up. Here, cable locks, take them.
Right, exactly. I mean, and they work good for other things too. I've found you can, they're not very long, but I've been able to lock my bike up a couple times with them.
Yeah, you can quickly throw some stuff along. It's also good for if you're those different cable locks and things like this. Also decent for if you're going to be flying with a firearm. You can get yourself there's a bunch of hard-sided containers that I've got that need like some sort of cable lock thrown through them. So yep, ta-da, there you go, locked box.
So basically, wrapping up the whole safe topic, buy one that fits your needs and your budget. If you can buy a little bit bigger than you think you'll need, that's probably a good option.
Oh, since this is Handgun Radio and people are interested in handguns, if you, like me and Ryan, have a severe handgun problem, One option that you can do is buy yourself a rifle safe, either a cabinet, a safe, whatever you have it, and get yourself some modular shelving systems and just even just some like assemble it yourself shelves and just put shelves inside a rifle safe, top to bottom. And ta-da, you've got the world's biggest pistol safe. And you need pistol safes.
So we have, before we wrap up, we have a couple more entries in the Dream Handgun. Did you see those in the show notes?
Yeah, I think, did we read this one last time?
Did we read the Gyrojet one?
We read the Gyrojet one last time.
Okay, we'll get rid of that. Well, we have listener Andy, and you'll like this one, Weird.
So wanted to
put it. Yeah, you go ahead.
Want to put my two in my one. There you go. Delete it. I'm trying to read here. I'm trying to read here. Wanted to put in my 2 cents. I would love to see a handgun with the following features: 1911 2011 style. I love the grip angle and feel, as well as the 1911 style trigger and single action with hammer. Double stack polymer frame, 80% frame available. I love making it myself. 9mm commander side slide, no grip safety. Hear your thoughts on the only radical thing here is the polymer frame on the 1911. Did we talk about this last week too?
No, I don't think so. This came in. This I think okay. We had a similar one.
Talking about polymer 1911. Yeah, and why has no one done it yet? Well, let's see. You mentioned 2011, so that is a polymer frame 1911. And the other one that's done it is Bull Firearms from Israel, who was imported by Kimber as the Kimber 10. Was it called? It was something 10. But that was a more traditional all polymer frame. The STI 2011s have the frame rail, essentially the dust cover.
The Bull M5.
Yeah. But I've heard they weren't very good.
It looks kind of cool.
Oh, I want one so bad.
Like, but I could see where it might not work.
If I walked into my shop and either a Bull or the Kimber version, and again, the Kimber version, you know who's talking here, was on the rack, and it was even like it was an outrageous price, I would still be counting my pennies and seeing if I could walk out with it. That's one of the guns that I really, really want to own.
The Kimber BP.
Oh yeah, BP 10. It was something 10. The word 10 was in it because it came out right after the assault weapons ban. So they.
I think that the Bull version. I'm looking at the original Bull version. It actually looks a little bit better than the Kimber version. The Kimber looks like it has a squared off trigger guard, or maybe not. Oh, there we go.
I'm looking here at the Kimber BP 10-2. That's got a round trigger guard.
Charles Daly made a copy as well.
And I believe Novak, was it? It was either Novak or Wilson. It was Wilson had a polymer frame double stack 1911.
Yes, Wilson. Oh, wow. Well, now everybody's going to say the EDC 9, but that's not polymer. The KZ 45.
KZ 45, that's it. Let's see what that. Ooh. And that was a double stack. How much did it hold?
That actually doesn't look bad either, though.
Well, that's gorgeous. Like, oh god, my daughter doesn't need to go to college. Oh, that is really gorgeous. Though, that's weird. Like, it's got a polymer frame. But you can see, if you look at where the grip safety and the hammer is, there's some sort of metal module in there somewhere.
It just looks like one of those recover tactical grips that go on the 1911.
Oh yeah, those are cool too.
It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah,
like they clamped some polymer just around the trigger guide and the grip and stuff.
Yeah, but I believe it's a full polymer frame. At least, I mean, it might have a chassis in there for the rails to ride on.
It's a Franken frame.
Yeah, but oh god, yeah, I would. I don't think I could spend what they'd be asking for if one showed up at my local shop, but I'd be thinking about it. I'd be thinking about it really hard. That the Kimber 10, the Bull. Again, I know I'm guaranteed the Wilson was fine. Like the Wilson would have no problems whatsoever. Um, I don't know about the Kimber and the Bull. Um, I know Larry Correa has one, and that's like one of his like just rough duty carry guns. Um, and Larry Correa wouldn't carry it if it was a lemon. But either way, it's kind of cool. And they made them in a bunch of different sizes. They made them in like full size and commander length and little like I don't know if they were defender or officer size 1911s, but a few people have done polymer frame 1911s is the go-to. And again, if you're going to be going with a double stack 1911, really the smart way to go is to go polymer. Um, the I mean, say what you will about para ord. The para ord double stacks aren't too bad if you get the more modern ones. Have you ever held like an old like old made in Canada para ord
I think I held
1911?
the P14.
Yeah, those ones. Well, at least the ones that I've handled all had like standard 1911 stocks on them, and so that is like gripping a baseball bat at the wrong end. Like that is just a. I've got pretty good sized hands, so it's shootable, but man, it feels funky in the hands. But some of the last few para ords before there were no para ords, and at the NRA show this year, there weren't any double stacks. At least that I'm trying to remember. I didn't see any double stacks. Um, Come on, Remington, bring back the double stack 1911s. I want to see the Warthog back. I have no desire to own one, but I've got a soft spot in my heart for it. But those ones they put super duper slimline grips on them, and with all that, it's a little bit thicker than a standard 1911 as far as how it feels in the hand, but not that much thicker.
Excellent. So thank you, Andy, for sending that in, and keep them coming. We'll keep reading them as long as they keep coming in. And also, Matthew, our friend Matthew, just reminded me that Tony Simon might have some knowledge about this subject. So we may need to revisit this soon and have Tony on, and we'll do Safe Space Part 2.
Never heard of her.
All right, so we'll head into the wrap-up section and close out the show. Don't forget to shop Brownells using our affiliate link. Head to firearmsradio.tv and click the affiliate link in the upper right-hand corner. Be sure to go like Handgun Radio on Facebook and also check out the Handgun Radio discussion group. Leave us a review on iTunes and listen to all the great shows on the Firearms Radio Network. Be sure to check out the Firearms Radio Network on YouTube. And Weird, thanks for as always for coming on. And where can people find you?
You can find me on my blog, which is weirdworld.com, and I'm also a host on the Squirrel Report and the Gun Blog Variety Cast.
There are links there in the show notes. So thanks a lot, Weird. And we will... What the hell am I saying? We will see you next week. What the hell is this?
But you won't see me because we're not using cameras.
Oh, that's true. And you're also going to be gone. So, all right. So with that, have fun and safe shooting.
Well, I'm not going to be